Fala, pessoal do Sharpcast, tudo bom com vocês? Aqui mais uma vez eu, Lucas, para apresentar mais um podcast para vocês. Estamos aí chegando no nosso 19º, já estamos aí quase completando o 20º episódio. E antes de eu chamar aqui o nosso co-host, nosso novo convidado, vamos falar um pouquinho dos nossos patrocinadores, que são a BetBra e a BetDex. A BetBra, que é uma plataforma 2 em 1, ela é um espelho ali da Pinnacle e também ela é uma exchange com o espelho ali da Betfair. Lá você vai encontrar uma das melhores odds do mercado, além de algumas funcionalidades bem legais, exclusivas, né? Como programar para pegar alguma aposta ali em live, uma odds específica. Tem um planejamento automático de entradas. Então, tem umas funcionalidades bem legais que com certeza vocês vão gostar. E também, para falar do nosso outro patrocinador, a BetDex. A BetDex é uma exchange bem nova no mercado. Eles têm uma tecnologia bem diferente, bem legal, que se assemelha ali com a tecnologia dos blockchains, que é a nova tecnologia que as moedas como o Bitcoin têm utilizado. Eles contêm também uma das melhores odds do mercado, então se vocês entrarem lá para dar uma conferida, vocês vão ver que estão bem competitivos aí no mercado, dificilmente vocês vão encontrar odds melhores. E se vocês estão a fim de conhecer, gostaram aqui da ideia, o link está aqui embaixo na descrição, é só clicar lá que vocês vão ser direcionados diretamente. Fechou? Então, pessoal, vamos chamar aqui agora o Dylan, o nosso 19º convidado. O Dylan, que ele é um dos fundadores aí da Pinnacle Odds Dropper, uma ferramenta bem legal aí, que ele vai contar um pouco mais para a gente como que ela funciona. E eu espero que vocês gostem e vamos, sem muita enrolação, bora chamar ele. Hello, Dylan. How are you doing?
Hey, Lucas. Yeah, I'm doing really good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm really good, too. So, just to start, could you share a little bit about your start and at this industry, how you came into the betting? How does it start?
Yeah, I'm probably one of the most unlikely people to have entered the betting industry, to be honest. I didn't foresee it for myself when I was younger. But while I was at the University of Liverpool studying business management, I was reading up on Benjamin Graham, who you may know him, maybe some of your listeners know him. He is kind of like the father of value investing in the stock world. So his whole philosophy was finding undervalued businesses and buying them. So I got really sort of deep into that. And then I heard about this thing called value betting. And it really resonated with me because of that background understanding of value, okay, underpriced stuff in markets. Okay, this makes sense that you can make money by finding inefficiencies in betting markets. So I started doing a little bit of value betting while at university, not anything serious because I didn't really have any money. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So I got limited on a couple of the main bookmakers pretty quickly. And at that point, it was kind of either, okay, you find more accounts, go that route, or you build a business in this space. So I thought, building a business would be pretty fun. Haven't done it before. I went to my brother, who is called Evan, and he's a serial entrepreneur, started many businesses in the past. And I said, listen, I want to build a product in this niche. So he said to me, let's do it together, pretty much, because he has the technical side and obviously the background experience of starting many businesses. So we decided to build it together. My initial idea was a complete failure. Didn't work at all naturally. But then we sort of regrouped and, thought there's probably still a good idea within this niche that we can build. So we started scouring a forum called ARB Users. And he actually found a thread, the dropping odds thread, where people were talking about the strategy and how it works and why it's effective. And there seemed to be sort of demand for dropping odds alerts. And so we read that thread, reread it a couple of times and thought, we could probably build a dropping odds alert software, which is better than anything on the market currently. So we backed ourselves. We decided to start building straight away. That was about 11 months ago. So I think at this current stage, we feel like we have the best dropping odds alert software on the market. But by no means are we done. It's still a very raw product. So we're really excited about the future of it.
Good. Here at with our operations, we use your your app, your software, and we really think it's really good. It's one of the best at the marketing, of course.
I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you talk about a first job you did with your brother, and this one failed. It was about a betting word, or it was a different kind of business?
It was a value betting business, so it was called Odd Bet, and it was kind of competing with like the Rebel Bettings, Odds Jams of the world, where we're actually supplying the value bets and telling users to go and place a value bet at this bookmaker on this market. It didn't have any initial traction, so kind of one of the key tenets of my brother's kind of business philosophy is kill things pretty quickly if they don't have any sort of initial traction, or maybe not initial traction, but if you kind of look at it and be like, this is going nowhere, it's don't waste any more time on it. So we decided, okay, kill that. Let's look for something which probably has more legs. And yeah, we found this dropping odds thread, and that kind of sort of gained traction pretty quickly. So yeah, it was a competitor to Rebel Betting.
There are several softwares in the market. Very big corporations own them now, so it's complicated to enter that space, I think. I would like to make you a question regarding what were in the initial phase of creating Pinnacle Odds Dropper. What were the first problems you encountered? How can you explain a little bit how the creation of the product itself appeared? Because I'm really sure, because you said it's not concluded, it's evolving. It will evolve to other routes for sure. So maybe in 2 or 3 years we have a very different product than what we have now. But for sure, some steps you have to build such a product, and you could maybe elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, so I'd say probably the sort of key struggles, headwinds we faced were related to the fact that we don't really have extensive background in the betting industry. So we're kind of learning about betting markets while building a product for sports bettors, which is an interesting challenge, one we've embraced and we're really enjoying. And it feels like every day we're learning so much. But it's tough. It is tough when you don't have that extensive background. We quickly realized that we need to make the alerts very customizable, because people have different preferences for what alerts they want to receive. You know, an alert which is actionable for me is not necessarily actionable for you, right? So we needed to quickly add lots of different filters for our users. And then sort of, I think now more we're tackling the education side, you know, how to make the most out of the software, you know, trying to educate on variance, you know, you got to stick with it. You reach statistical significance at like 2,000 bets, but I think a common issue you find, even with people who have a decent understanding of sports betting, is they kind of just reject a strategy pretty quickly if the initial results aren't, you know, what they want them to be. But that's just the nature of variance. So now we're really sort of trying to educate people through our guides on our website, through emails, while of course continuing to improve the product. So yeah, just to circle back, I would say probably the lack of experience. But now we feel like we're a lot better footing. We feel like we understand what sports bettors, what value bettors want out of a software now than we did 11 months ago.
Still talking about of your product. What do you think is the major advantage of the Pinnacle Odds Dropper compared with your competitions? Delay sports, the cover markets, and different features. What do you say?
Yeah, I would say feature depth definitely is a lot better than the competitors out there. I would say configurability, going back to that, the level of detail that you can customize your alerts to is big for us. Speed, for sure. The back-end architecture, everything is built with speed in mind. We don't want to add latency to the system because we know how important it is to get those alerts quickly, because you need to have that time advantage. I would say the user experience is probably slicker We think that the competitors out there haven't done a great job at kind of figuring out how to mesh Pinnacle price and non-price data with the alerts. So as you see, we have the events tab and the alerts tab. So we provide thousands of data points across thousands of Pinnacle's markets in the events tab. And when you're in the alerts view, the alerts tab, you can view the full event data for all the different markets. So I think it is a lot to do with user experience as well.
Okay. To me, to my use, I think the UX, the user experience of to use your system, I think it's one of the best, and I think that's the biggest the biggest advantage for another type of platforms. What advantage we have to using the dropping odds software compared to traditional tipster groups that we've been seeing in the last few years?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say one of the main advantages is if we define rebel betting or odds jam as a tipster, which I kind of assume we are in this conversation, then you are limited to the bookmakers that they cover, right? So once you get limited by, the 5 or 6 bookmakers that they cover in your jurisdiction, in your country, then you're kind of left like, okay, well, what do I do now? You need the ability to find value bets across all of your bookmakers. In the UK, there are over 100 online UK sportsbooks, and none of the tipster services have anywhere close to that sort of coverage. If you look at the other sort of kind of tipster, which is more like they send out sporadic bets, there's not necessarily a value philosophy behind them. You sort of question the legitimacy of them. I would say that the advantage is our users can kind of see the value for themselves. They're seeing the massive price discrepancy between Pinnacle and Bet365, and they know why that discrepancy exists. It's because Pinnacle has adjusted to a new piece of market information quicker than Bet365 has, and they know Pinnacle's moving price is very sharp, so they're really comfortable placing that bet. So I would say that, me personally, I feel more comfortable finding my own value bets. But again, it goes back to user experience. That's also another advantage over these tipster services. It's the market coverage. It's all the non-price data that we provide. It's the graph view. People like looking at graphs. So kind of the whole bundle is, I would say, better than a lot of tipster services out there.
Okay, I would like to throw some more technical questions at you. Of course, if you think or you think you're not able to speak about them, that's totally perfect. The podcast is recorded. We can cut off those parts and you can edit it then. But I have several questions because I think in the market, the first value betting bot that I remember to see was TradeMate Sports. They were maybe the first ones to try to bring to the market a tool such as a value betting bot, because the other softwares you spoke about, they were more like match betting softwares or arbor softwares. But TradeMate was the first one to say, okay, we have a benchmark, we have a Pinnacle line, all that are above, just pick it. And the Pinnacle line is not always, it's not always the safest way to bet. So we know that sometimes the Pinnacle line, because Pinnacle is now the #1 for soccer in the world, most bookies do follow the Pinnacle line and move on air, like they used to say in more slang. The questions are like, do you see the possibility to Pinnacle line being manipulated and being moved like a threat to these kind of alerts and products, and how do you plan to deal with this? Have you thought about this already or not?
We haven't thought specifically about price manipulation, but I would say to compensate for instances where Pinnacle's price is inefficient, I would borrow a principle from value investing from Benjamin Graham called the margin of safety. And I've written about this in one of our guide docs. And I think where you believe the price is more inefficient, you should demand a higher premium to Pinnacle's no-vig price at your soft bookmaker. And obviously the proxies for confidence are the VIG and the limit. Whether you can have an insight beyond those two proxies into the confidence of Pinnacle's line, then I don't know whether you can. I don't know of a way that you can. But if you can, then use it. Incorporate that into your assessment of their efficiency and apply the margin of safety.
That was a great answer. I'm just asking this question to you because I have read many more recent articles about some loss of efficiency or some variance curves, unexpected variance curves on the ones that are following TradeMate. Because if you followed TradeMate like 3 or 4 years ago, the level of productivity, let's call it like this, was very high. And nowadays, the people who are using the Pinnacle line as a benchmark now have to be more careful. Sometimes they have to be, as you say, they have to have different safety margins, and so that's just something I would like to put here and to ask you, because of course there is still a lot of value, immense value in following these strategies. But of course, what is now good may not endure for the next, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years. So I just want to do this question to you. And another things that we would like to ask you was about the future plans, because we have seen the markets that you already have. The MMA, it's extremely liquid, but the future plans for increasing in other sports markets. Do you have plans, for instance, races? For sure, you have a huge races, and another APIs like exchanges to be on the product, or not for now.
That's a really, really good question. And actually, my answer kind of does a better job at answering your prior question. We plan on adding other sharp bookmakers and exchanges to the platform. That is going to help with the threat of Pinnacle becoming less and less efficient, right? And also, we know that Pinnacle are more efficient for soccer, less efficient for something else, So we would like to have the most efficient bookmaker / exchange for a particular sport in every case. Do you see what I mean?
To benchmark, yes, of course.
Exactly, yeah. So that's a big part of our plans. Along with that, we're kind of toying with the idea of bet placement, so laying bets at an exchange, backing bets at bookmakers. We really want to just keep on improving the alerting experience. There's a lot of room to improve, so that's high on our agenda. Esports is a huge market. We're very interested in that. Those are the main things. We take 99% of our ideas, come from our users. We have no original ideas. We have a lot of loud users who tell us what they want, and they're very smart, and the ideas are very good. So if you see that we built something, 99% chance we built it because the users have asked for it.
Yeah.
Dylan, I don't know how this works in Europe and other countries, but here in Brazil we have a lot of people passionate about sports and things like that, So because of this passion, they want to came into this industry of betting and stuff like that. if you have some advice for someone who wants to came into this field, for where you advise to start, in which kind of industry? Being a bettor, being a provider, what do you think is the best choice?
Oh, well, if you're, the last question there, being a provider or being a bettor, I think there's money to be made in both. I think you can figure out ways to achieve really high returns through betting. And I also think there's always going to be a subset of people who want to go down the route of building a business in the industry. And I think both paths are totally fair enough. It's just dependent on the person. I would say if you are looking to get into value betting, I would educate yourself, read. You can learn a lot online. Read our guide docs, read other guide docs. Understand variance, understand statistical significance, because too many people I see just quit before they reach that. And it's quite painful to see because they may well have been placing really positive EV bets. I would say probably check out our software. It's an extremely simple strategy. You don't need to have a really high IQ to understand it, to deploy it. I'm a prime example of that. I use a dropping odds strategy. So check out our software, set up an alert configuration, just get familiar with what data comes with the alert, understand the no vig price. That's a really important data point, probably the most important data point that comes with each alert, because that's the price you want to beat at your soft bookmaker. Understand the margin of safety. So if it's a really low limit, high vig market, demand a higher premium to the no vig price compared to if it's a really high limit, low vig market. And yeah, just keep your mind open and stay really curious about the industry, because it's a really interesting industry. It has lots of parallels to, I mean, people say it all the time, it's an easy comparison, but it does have lots of parallels to the financial markets. So it's kind of, it's a really fascinating industry.
I have two questions. The alerts that you have now, and the apps and everything, are you going to migrate those to other platforms? Are you just going, the alerts system is going to evolve in the next few times? Have you thoughts about that?
Mobile is potentially a big opportunity. We would like to be sending alerts to the mobile. You know, we haven't exactly decided how that looks. We'll figure it out. Any other platforms that you can think of beyond that might be applicable? I think just desktop and mobile.
So about our script, I think we cover all the questions. Do you have another question? Check.
No, I don't. I just want to. I think Dylan already said some advice for bettors. He spoke about the strategy. I'm not really sure if he wants to give some advice or to make some good publicity to Pod, how people can reach them and check the product. I think it would be important for them.
Yeah, the website. Thank you. The website is PinnacleOddsDropper.com. Not very creative, the name, but you can check us out there.
Yeah, but Pod is great. Pod, it stays with you. Pod. So
nice. Yeah, we need to buy the pod.com domain name at some point. But yeah, PinnacleOddsDropper.com. Find us there. Read our guide docs. Reach out. Email us. I take calls with users, potential users, to talk them through the software. So feel free to pop me an email, or there's the option to book a call on our guide docs, so you can do that there. And yeah, just stay open-minded. There's definitely high returns to be made through the dropping odds strategy. It's very simple. It's easy to understand. And yeah, I love it. I use it. So reach out.
Thank you very much, Dylan.
Então, pessoal, esse aqui foi o nosso 19º episódio. Aqui a gente teve um papo bem legal com o Dylan, que trouxe um pouco aí de como é que funciona a ferramenta deles, o Pinnacle Odds Dropper. Se vocês ficarem interessados, nós vamos deixar o link aqui também na descrição para vocês acessarem. E é isso. Valeu por estarem aqui conosco até aqui. Valeu, Cheque, por estar conosco também. And thank you, Dylan, to be with us. Thank you for accepting our invite.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think what you guys are doing is really cool. The educating bettors on how to be sharper, how to bet more intelligently, I think is a worthy cause. So keep it up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.